The suspect entered the back of the property and came through and shot her with a crossbow. She was 8 months pregnant. The police and paramedics arrived on scene and took her to hospital, where they carried out the emergency cesarean.
When Devi Unmathallegadoo split from her husband Ramanodge, it was not long before she found love again. After marrying her new husband, Imtiaz Muhammed, Devi would become Sana Muhammed and would have high hopes of moving on, ready to start a new life filled of love and happiness. Her ex-husband Ramanodge, however, would be filled with anger and jealousy, and he would do anything in his power to stop this from happening, quickly becoming a dangerous stalker in her life. How far would Ramanodge take it? Would he try and harm Sana and her new husband? Would he try and attack her whilst she was 8 months pregnant? Sadly, Ramanodge would do anything in his power in the hopes of destroying Sana's dreams of a happy life with her newfound love. He would resort to a harrowing crime of passion, plagued by hatred, jealousy, and deadly obsession. Devi Unmathallegadoo was a 35-year-old Indian Muslim mother of 6, and she was previously known as Devi Unmathallegadoo while unmarried. She was a good mother who loved her children and husband, and always cared for her family. Her second husband, Imtiaz Muhammed, described her as a loving person who was very friendly, talkative. She did not like being ignored and always made me laugh. I have never seen a mother like that. She was so loving towards her kids. A neighbour, Navneet Batar, would describe her as a very nice lady, adding, "She is my friend on this road. Her kids and my kids go to nursery together." In 1999, when Devi was just 16, she became Devi Unmathallegadoo after she married her husband, Ramanodge Unmathallegadoo, who was 30, almost twice her age. The couple had met on the day of their wedding, and it had been arranged by their families in Mauritius. In the UK, Ramanodge was a former General Hospital site manager at Newham, and the couple went on to have 3 children together. The large age gap between Devi and Ramanodge created an obvious power imbalance in their relationship. Speaking on her marriage to Ramanodge, a neighbour would say, "She clearly wasn't happy with her life. She married too young with a big age gap." Devi and Ramanodge Unmathallegadoo's marriage was not always the sweetest. In fact, it was very rocky, and in 2011, Ramanodge became very controlling. These controlling acts caused the couple to experience multiple marital issues, leading to disagreements and violent incidences from Ramanodge. During this difficult period, the couple met a builder from Pakistan called Imtiaz Muhammed. Imtiaz was working on an extension of a neighbour's house in the area, and they quickly became friends. Imtiaz acted as an intermediary between the couple. Anytime Devi and Ramanodge had marital issues, Ramanodge would seek advice from Imtiaz. Unknown to him, however, Imtiaz and his wife had started a romantic relationship. In 2012, Devi and Ramanodge separated following an incident at their home that had made Devi jump out of a first-floor window and break her ankle. In her statement, she said Ramanodge had attempted to strangle her, but he had only pulled away when their children intervened. He was also said to have sharpened a knife while staring dangerously at her multiple times. Ramanodge was arrested based on these charges. However, in 2013, during the trial, the court acquitted him from the charges of attacking her and on the charges of attempted strangulation under the Offences Against the Person Act of 1861. With the constant violent attacks, arguments, and the incident in 2012, the couple separated and Devi filed for divorce. Devi also filed an emergency non-molestation restraining order which barred Ramanodge from being within 100 meters of the family home. Meanwhile, the love between Devi and Imtiaz festered on. Devi and Ramanodge finalized their divorce proceedings in 2014. That same year, Devi Unmathallegadoo became Sana Muhammed after marrying her new partner of 3 years, Imtiaz Muhammed, in a traditional Islamic ceremony. She was so in love with Imtiaz that she agreed to convert her Hindu faith to Islam to marry Imtiaz. Sana and Imtiaz Muhammed lived happily together for 4 years in their home at Ilford, a house which Ramanodge and Devi, now Sana Muhammed, jointly owned. Sana and Imtiaz had 2 children together, and she then became pregnant with their third. Life was going well, and Sana and Imtiaz were living a happy family life. Ramanodge, on the other hand, felt like a failure. He had lost his job as the site manager at Newham General Hospital. He had also lost his wife and children to someone he once regarded as a friend. This was the beginning of his hatred towards the new couple. Ramanodge became jealous, angry, and vindictive. He hated Imtiaz Muhammed for stealing his wife, and he hated Sana for leaving him for Imtiaz. The couple's happiness made him jealous, and he wanted revenge against them. Ramanodge was said to be a vengeful man. Sana had told her new husband Imtiaz that Ramanodge never forgets or forgives. He was described as the kind of man that would harm a person who had wronged him if he got the chance. Luckily, Ramanodge disappeared from the couple's lives for a few years, but behind the scenes, he was planning something unforgivable. In 2015, Ramanodge started plotting ways to seek revenge on the couple. He would stalk their home in East London, inquire about their activities, and try to stock up on weapons he could use for his plans. In 2017, he would be seen at his children's school gates trying to talk to them. Sana became worried. She was concerned about her safety. She would report her concerns to the police, but they were dismissed as there was no concrete crime being committed. Nevertheless, Sana's worries and concerns, however, were completely justified. It would later be revealed that Ramanodge had had an ulterior motive for seeing his children, and in 2018 he finally saw the opportunity to carry out his revenge-fueled plan on Sana and Imtiaz Muhammed. At 6 a.m. on the 12th of November 2018, at the family home in Applegarth Drive in East London, 8-month pregnant Sana Muhammed had woken up early to start cooking for the guests they were expecting for lunch. At 7:30 a.m, she was done cooking and had started washing the dishes in the kitchen, while her husband Imtiaz went to the garden shed behind the house to put away the empty 51-inch cardboard TV box they had just bought. As Imtiaz entered the garden shed and placed the box on the left, he noticed someone was inside the shed. At first he thought it might be one of their children, but on closer inspection, he discovered it was none other than Ramanodge, his wife's ex-husband. He was armed with 2 crossbows, grinning wickedly and staring coldly at Imtiaz. Ramanodge had been camping out in the garden shed of his ex-wife's house, waiting for the final moments to carry out his evil plot. His evil plan had been to tie up his ex-wife and her husband and to then kill them both, as well as their unborn baby. He had bought 2 crossbows, duct tape, cable ties, bolts, a knife, and a hammer to carry out his actions. Ramanodge had watched the house for a month and knew of the family's activities. With Imtiaz walking into the shed that fateful morning, it had given Ramanodge the perfect opportunity to finally implement his plan. After seeing Ramanodge armed and standing there with the crossbows, Imtiaz immediately ran back into the house, screaming, "Run!" Ramanodge chased him with 2 crossbows and a knife. On hearing the warning screams of her husband, Sana attempted to run upstairs. However, she was stopped halfway up the stairs when an 18-inch bolt pierced her abdomen. Her 2 eldest children immediately rushed towards their father, Ramanodge, who was trying to get the second crossbow to shoot Imtiaz, and luckily they quickly managed to disarm him. Immediately, the police and the emergency services were called and the crime was reported, and Ramanodge was arrested. An ambulance arrived shortly after the call, and Sana was rushed to the Royal London Hospital, where medical practitioners instantly attended to her. Would Sana and her baby survive the attack? Her family would hope and pray she would survive. They would await for the news from the doctors whilst the police arrested Ramanodge. Following the report, the police immediately came to the Muhammed residence in East London. Ramanodge Unmathallegadoo was immediately arrested for the attempted murder of Sana Muhammed.
Hand behind your back now. Hand behind your back now.
Suspects outside.
Over there. Stay there.
You're in control.
Stay there for now, please. Until we establish what's going on, we got intelligence that someone's been shot in this address.
Crossbow in the garden.
During his arrest, he told the police he was not trying to shoot her, but was shooting Imtiaz, her husband.
Right, you're under arrest, okay, for the offence of attempted murder. Right, my grounds for your arrest is obviously because you've told myself that you've come round here for your wife's current partner, and there's an affair involved. She's got in the way where you've admitted on my body-worn video that you fired and shot her, okay?
No, I don't shoot her. I was shooting Imtiaz.
Yeah, but she's got in the way. I understand that, but you've told me that on my body-worn, alright?
20 minutes after Sana was rushed to the hospital, her husband Imtiaz was told by a policeman that his wife, heartbreakingly, had not survived the attack and had died from internal injuries from the shot to her abdomen. The 18-inch bolt had pierced her hip, going up through her stomach and impaling vital organs, including her liver and heart. Ramanodge was immediately charged with the murder of his ex-wife, Sana Muhammed. On the 8th of April 2019, at the Old Bailey Court in London, Ramanodge was charged with the murder of his ex-wife, Sana Muhammed, and the attempted murder of her baby. The jury would be told of the incident that occurred on the 12th of November 2018 that led to the death of Sana Muhammed and how the bolt had miraculously missed her baby. The bolt that pierced Sana's body was said to have missed her son by millimeters. The baby somehow survived despite not breathing when delivered by emergency C-section. During this trial, however, a juror would raise the issue of psychiatric illness, and the case would be adjourned to the 22nd of November, where a retrial would be held, after it had been established that Ramanodge was of sound mind at the time of the attack. On the 22nd of November, at the Old Bailey Court in London, prosecutor Peter Wright had told the jurors how Ramanodge's plan had been deliberate. He also told the jurors how Ramanodge had not reacted well to his ex-wife's marriage to Imtiaz Muhammed and had allegedly spent years plotting his revenge. Prosecutor Wright had said the disintegration of his marriage led to a deeply held desire for a most violent revenge. The jurors would be told how he had plans to restrain his ex-wife and her partner and kill them and their unborn child. But he was disturbed when Imtiaz went to the shed that morning. They would further learn that Ramanodge had spent almost £2,000 stashing weapons dating back from April 2015 until the day of the attack. He had bought 2 crossbows online, each costing around £250. A neighbour had also found 2 weapons stashed at an electrical substation near Sana's home in March 2018, and after they were removed, Ramanodge set about to replace them. A month before the incident, Ramanodge had asked his daughter if Imtiaz and Sana often locked the garden shed. It was said by the prosecution that he had been surveilling the property for almost a month. Prosecutor Richard Horwell would say that Ramanodge planned the murder for over 3 years, while his hatred grew and festered. It was a cold-blooded execution by a man who had a resolute desire for revenge and who had been consumed by hatred for a former wife who had left him for another man. Ramanodge would plead not guilty to the murder of his ex-wife and attempted murder of her baby. In his defense, he would say the shooting was an accident. He claimed that he had only wanted to confront Imtiaz Muhammed for allegedly forcing his 12-year-old daughter, who lived with the couple at their Ilford home, to live as a Muslim. He said, "I only wanted to confront Imtiaz over the treatment my daughter was going through. He would force her to pray in the Islamic faith, and she didn't want to. She was forced to eat halal food, and she was forced to wear non-European clothes." He had also claimed that Imtiaz had prevented his daughter from celebrating Halloween or Christmas, and that he had seized a mobile phone he had given her. The court would learn that Ramanodge was barred from being in close contact with his children and ex-wife by a restraining order that she had filed after their separation. However, he claimed to have spoken to his daughter on her way to school, and he had said, "I could sense her saying, 'Daddy, help.' You could see it in her face and in her eyes." Recalling the incident at the residence, Ramanodge said, "I wanted to confront Mr. Muhammad. I wanted to talk to him, but he just ran without stopping." He claimed he took the crossbows with him only as a deterrent, claiming he did this because, "I didn't want to be intimidated physically by Imtiaz because he was a big man." He told the court he dropped one of the weapons in the kitchen because he could only aim one at a time. Ramanodge had said he had been looking for the safety catch when he accidentally fired the crossbow. He told the jury he wanted the safety catch off so he could fire it. He would claim he plans to shoot into the banister rail to make a loud noise and scare the couple. Ramanodge said, "Devi and Imtiaz were on the stairs. I just wanted them to stop. I thought if I hit the banister, they would hear the noise and stop. While I was checking the safety catch, the next thing I know, there was a bang. When the crossbow had been discharged, I felt defenseless, so the next thing I did was go back into the kitchen and get the other one." He also claimed he realized Sana was hurt when he heard one of the children on the phone to emergency services. Ramanodge had also denied stashing weapons to harm his ex-wife and her husband, claiming that he had bought them to take to Mauritius so he could go hunting with his brother. The trial was then adjourned to next week for a sentence to be given. Ramanodge, however, remained in custody. On the 29th of November 2019, the retrial for the murder of Sana Muhammed and the attempted murder of her baby continued. A lady from the Crown Prosecution Service, Susan Crickler, described the killing as a cold-blooded and calculated execution. She had said, "This devastating attack has left 6 children without their mother. I hope today's conviction provides some comfort to those who loved and cared for Devi." After 4 hours of deliberation, Ramanodge was found guilty and was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum jail term of 33 years. The trial judge was appalled by the crime and said to Ramanodge that he had committed the most horrendous crime in the face of his own children. Sana's family and friends were happy with the sentencing. They were grateful that she had gotten some justice for the crime against her and were relieved that Ramanodge would not be released from prison for at least 33 years. They were, however, so saddened by her death, especially her husband, Imtiaz Muhammed, who was broken and mourned his dear wife. Their third son, Ibrahim Muhammad, had miraculously survived the attack and was delivered prematurely through caesarean surgery. Imtiaz regretted how he had handled the incident in which he had lost his wife. He would blame himself for her death, wishing he had been more protective of her during the incident and had faced her violent ex instead of running away. He had spoken to a reporter, saying, "I can't help thinking she took my arrow. Maybe it should have hit me. The kids were all there. It was horrific. If I only closed the door behind me, then she would have been saved. Or if I just spoke to Ram, maybe she would have been saved. My mind, my brain, didn't work that time. That's the regret I'm living with. That's why I went into depression afterwards. It's the biggest regret of my life. She was my soulmate. She was everything to me. She was my companion. She was my friend. Life was so lovely." Devi's mother, Elimar, had said the death for her only daughter had a profound impact on her. It made her feel more alone with no reason to live. She was overwhelmed with sadness, pain, and shock, knowing her daughter's killer was the man she had arranged for her to marry. "I always treated Ramanodge as my own son. I always thought of him and his well-being after the separation. It brings me so much pain to know that he could be capable of something so hateful and so calculated. I cannot forgive him." It's just so heartbreaking to know that Sana Muhammed was brutally murdered by someone she had once shared her life with. She had died in the cold hands of her ex-husband and father of her children. Even in her pregnant condition, Ramanodge showed no mercy, ending the life of the woman he had claimed to love. Sana just wanted to carry on and start a new happy and love-filled life with her new partner, but Ramanodge took that dream away from her. Maybe Sana would be alive today if the police had taken her claims and fears against him seriously. As always, my heart goes out to Sana and to each and every person who has been impacted by this truly evil crime.